I'm Hans-Peter from Finnish Community of Entrepreneurship, and we are here at the US Embassy in Helsinki with the US Ambassador Bruce Oreck. Bruce Oreck, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. How have you been?
Great, and thank you for this possibility for this interview.
Oh, my pleasure.
You have a very interesting background.
Only for you guys. No. Well, I'll do this seriously. I'm sorry. Go ahead, yeah.
Your shoulders are at least twice the size of mine. You have been a bodybuilder champion, a boxer, a business leader, and you are a lawyer, and now you are the US ambassador to Finland. Could you tell us your story in a short?
I think the answer is that life is full of opportunities, and if you go after whatever interests you, that it has a way of sort of being self-fulfilling. And I find almost everything interesting, and if I find that I want to pay attention to it, then I get fully immersed, and here I am. It's not. I don't think it's much more complicated than that. Just wanting to do something and going out and doing it.
You are the founder of a non-profit organization, Zero Carbon Initiative, and you are known for your efforts for the environment. Why are environmental issues so important to you?
I think that ever since I was a child, although I grew up in New York City, which is not a place that people think of wilderness, I always went during my summer holiday out to the woods and to the mountains, and that's where I first fell in love with nature. But in the end, I guess I would make reference to some quotes from a farmer in the U.S. who's a poet and a writer, but he's actually a farmer. And he often says, "I stand for what I stand on," meaning, it's important is the ground we stand on. I mean, it's the earth. And he also says this, which I find is a great quote, and I'll have it here somewhere. He says, "Whether we know it, and our politicians know it or not, nature is a party to all of our deals and decisions, and she has more votes, a longer memory, and a sterner sense of justice than we do." I think that sort of sums it up for me, that you can't get around nature. She's here, and she will in the end be the winner, and therefore we have the chance and the choice to be aware of that and to act in cooperation with our environment, or we will certainly not be we won't end up where we want to be in relationship to the world around us. So it's to me it's a pretty easy choice.
Who do you see as a mentor of yours?
Oh, I think there are lots of mentors, people who go back 100 years. You could probably start with someone like John Muir, who was a Scotsman who immigrated to America and started walking in America, and his passion for the wilderness area led to the foundation of the national parks by then President Theodore Roosevelt. So there's a history of great leaders certainly from the U.S. who have been passionate about the space around us, our environment, and today I think there are many from the leaders in many of the NGOs all over the world, to some political leaders certainly who see that we don't have to be in a battle with nature. We can learn how to be in cooperation. Yeah.
Al Gore is the main speaker at the event next fall.
Absolutely.
In Jyväskylä.
Sure.
How do you like Vice President Al Gore and his work?
I've had the opportunity to meet him on a few occasions. I don't know him well. I have tremendous respect for him. He's an exceptionally bright man, and he's exceptionally committed to the issues around our relationship to the climate, our care of the climate. And I will say that his perseverance, his ability to get up every day and take this on is absolutely inspiring. He has a stamina and a dedication to the issue which is really, really inspiring. And he's a great communicator, so I'm a big fan.
We are all. Why do you think there is so much polarization around global warming?
Well, I think that part of it has to do with the language that we have chosen. As Hansi just said, around global warming. And of course, the fact is that's really an inaccurate way to describe what's happening. It's not just that it's getting warmer in some places, it's getting colder in others. It's getting wetter or it's getting drier. And I think that it is human nature to resist change, to resist the unknown. We get to a place where we're happy where we are. We'd like it just like it is. And so when someone says, well, now that you're comfortable, everything's going to change, we tend to resist. And when we use language that can be confusing, I think people want to resist. I'll give you another example for me is the conversation when we say, oh, I'm opposed to climate change. Well, that's kind of like being opposed to gravity or being opposed to the sunrise. Climate change is a natural phenomenon. What we're really concerned about, of course, is the human impact that is causing the acceleration of natural cycles, the compression of natural cycles. And there's no historical precedent for that. We know, that the environment evolves over time, and when you take that buffer of time away, you get unknown consequences, bad consequences. That's what we're really dealing with, and that is sort of a different set of language, use of words than, oh, I'm worried about climate change. So I think the polarization comes because we have in part, we use difficult language, and in part because people don't really like change. It's just, human nature.
The seminar next fall handles responsibility and responsible business.
Sure.
If we look at responsibility as a wider concept, what is responsibility all about in your eyes?
Well, I think it's not just environmental responsibility. I believe that we are raised, most of us, with a sense of what is right for the individual and what is right for the larger community in which we live. And we don't all have to be in agreement on that. But we do have to acknowledge that we're not alone, that none of us is just alone on this planet. We can do exactly what we want. So we all have different sets of responsibilities to act on. If you want to have children, you have to be a responsible parent. If you want to have a job, you have a responsibility to try to do your best work. Some of that obviously relates to how corporations behave, some how individuals behave. So I don't know that anybody is opposed to responsibility. It's always comes down to how do we define what is being responsible? And again, that's an opportunity for us to be clear and powerful with our words.
OECD has calculated that in the coming years, the next largest fortunes will be made in environmental and energy innovations. Do you see that Finland has a possibility to be one of the leading countries in clean tech industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can explain it to you fairly simply. First of all, Finland is an economy that has basically since its founding been an export economy. Your success has been your ability to bring good products to the marketplace and then to market those beyond the boundaries of Finland. So that is a skill set that Finns are extremely good at, basically marketing, exporting goods. Finns are also extremely good at products that are attuned to energy efficiency, to getting the most out of the resources that are used. The Finnish businesses that I visit with over and over again demonstrated the ability to look at somebody else's product and say, that's not bad, but I know how to make it better. Since the entire global economy, $100 trillion a year is the global GDP, all of that is tied to our relationship with energy. As that relationship is reinvented, as we move away from fossil fuels, as we move away from oil or gas or coal or to renewables, alternatives, that means everything is fair game. There's more business opportunity today than ever before. And these are in areas where Finland has an expertise, a long-standing expertise. And so I think that Finland doesn't just have a chance of being a player. I think Finland is a player and will have a much larger role as a player in that economy.
When thinking about how companies should promote sustainable development,
Sure.
carbon footprint and things like that, what examples could you give us from the States, and what are the things that we could learn from the States and vice versa?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's some big learnings. First of all, many studies have now been done by major accounting firms and business firms, and they look at the big companies in America that are listed on the big stock exchange, and they find over and over again that companies that have effective sustainability programs, effective energy management programs, outperform their peers by substantial figures. So the business model of success is proven. We also know, and we can prove it over and over again, that making investments in these areas, whether it's high-performance buildings, smarter factories, have very high rates of return. In fact, generally are more profitable than the underlying business that the company's operating. So I think that the takeaway is that from the U.S. is that the discussion has moved. It's no longer a question of whether you should. It's a question of how best to implement these necessary modifications in your business plan. And that's happening all across America, everywhere from small cities and on the municipal level to states to big corporations. There are lots and lots of different models that are at play. America is a place where we like the battle of the marketplace. We don't generally vote for a single solution. Different states solve the problem differently, different towns solve the problem differently, and in that energy we find better and better ways to create new markets. And the U.S. is being very successful at that right now, tremendously successful.
Ambassador Oreck, thank you for this interview, and I guess we'll meet again latest at the seminar next fall.
Latest December, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. Thanks a lot.